Well, hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Conversations. It's been a week. Last week, we uploaded a video that I filmed 2 years ago with a live audience of pastors and leaders. Been having some audio troubles, so thank you for bearing with us. Also spent some time in New York with my amazing, beautiful wife and my son. Today, I want to jump in and talk about how to build a leader. I think a lot of times we focus on building a team, or a lot of my episodes, to be honest, can be around the team function because we all know that teamwork makes the dream work. And it's imperative to not miss the point of building one. Because if you're not careful, you'll build a team without building a single leader. A team can function off of culture, momentum, urgency, but a leader, this takes time, intentionality, correction, investment. So today I'm going to just strip it back. This isn't a playbook for building a machine, building a function organization. This is how you build a person, a leader, someone you trust with your keys, your church, your business, or your burden. So these are just some simple observations of my journey of, yes, building leaders, but building a leader. And also just want to give honor where honor is due in my life. None of this is just self-taught. This is honestly a river. There is an inflow and an outflow here, that all of these thoughts, all of these principles that I live have been taught over the last 12 to 15 years of my life in church. So number one, you cannot fast pass development. You have to spend time with them. Leadership can't be microwaved. You don't build leaders by dropping tasks in Slack. You build them by being with them. Presence is the price. So my question to you, and we're going to break down this a little bit, who are you leading right now, and are you giving them proximity or just responsibility? Because you can give responsibility without proximity, but you're not going to develop them. There is no microwave to development. Similar, there's no microwave to relationship. It takes intentionality, it takes time, and it takes true investment. But it has to be a mutual investment. One of my favorite podcasts, pastors, leaders, is Tim Ross, and he always talks about this, that, man, you can't just fast pass a relationship, or I can't build you 1 hour a month. That just is impossible. This takes true time, true commitment. So again, you can't fast pass development. I am a byproduct of people spending hours over the course of 5 years with me, not just 5 minutes a month on a random voice memo. That's not how it works. And that means you have to be introspective of your lid, because your lid is going to be your time. You might be able to build one leader. That's amazing. But just so you know, that's not just one leader. They're going to lead leaders who lead leaders. So there's a multiply effect if you're intentional. Number two, correction without encouragement breaks them. Encouragement without correction stunts them. So you have to have both. You have to cheer them on and you have to challenge them, because if you only cheer them on, they won't grow. You can't just constantly be their cheerleader. You're not their cheerleader, you're their leader. But if you only call them out, they'll shut down. This is parenting, and I'm not a parenting expert whatsoever. I have a 6-month-old, 7 months old, literally today. So I'm not your parent guy, but what I can tell you is you have to have both. And there's a lot of excuses attached to confrontation, but oftentimes we are very weak when it comes to celebrating. We're very general and broad. You're doing a great job. That's a horrible thing to say. What does that even mean? It adds zero weight and density and value to their life. You have to be, hey, you did a great job when, hey, I saw you doing this, and this is how it translated to somebody else's development. Or, man, it made me so proud when you did this. You have to be intentional, because you apply the principle of law of opposite. You can't just be general with feedback. You're not doing a good job. Okay, that's amazing. What am I not doing a good job at? Be specific. When was the last time you corrected and encouraged the same person in the same week? The best leaders, in my experience, have been people that can confront me, and after the conversation, I actually feel better about myself and more confident about my calling. Number three, they're not your shadow. Give them real responsibilities. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. Stop treating them like your intern. Let them preach. Let them run point. Let them fail with support. You're not building an assistant, you're building a leader. And honestly, this will be able to tell on yourself within about 30 seconds. Because if you can't lead somebody better than you, you're not a good leader. You're a mediocre manager at best. Because the reality is the best leaders are not the people who know it all. The best leaders are the people who give opportunities and allow people to flourish. And yet, there is so much chemistry and trust in that relationship that they continue to build with you. Now, what's something only you do right now that you should hand off to somebody you're developing? And that's the thing. If somebody can do it up to 60% of your ability, you should allow them to do so. And again, give them a rep. Let them preach. Let them lead the meeting. Let them think of a creative idea or a sermon illustration. You just have to give people opportunities that are real. And sure, they might fail, but that's why you're there. You don't have somebody spotting you at the gym so that they can lift the weight when you didn't get it. That's not a good spotter. That's not a good coach. Cool, you can lift it, but I can't. A good spotter actually has a little tension to help you actually pull it up a little bit so that the next time they might not need to do so. And that to me is a leader. Number 4, use what you're building to build them, not the other way around. Talked about this 1,000 times, and it is so prominent and obvious in the church that we use people to build the church. And that, my friend, is a recipe for disaster. Because in all reality, we should be using what we're building. We should be using the church to build people, build lives, build marriages, build callings, build lives, like I said. So if you're only using people to build your brand, your church, your dream, you've already failed. You're not a leader, you're a user. Flip it and build the people first. The best leaders that I haven't even communicated to, but I've seen from 1,000 foot, and also my pastors and leaders in my life over the last decade have been people who help build my life. They're building me into being the pastor that I need to be, the entrepreneur I need to be, not just doing tasks without no vision behind them. So is your project a platform for people, or are the people just a means to your project? And we can say this 1,000 times, but only God and your motives and your mouth will tell what this truly one is. Number 5, model what you want to multiply. It is insane to me how many times we expect people to do things that we have never done or don't do. And to me, that is the epitome of laziness. If you are a lazy leader, you are telling people to do something that you're not willing to do. I remember in my journey of building church, I was in a conversation. We were in a startup party for one of our campuses, and somebody said to me, "I'm not doing all those tasks. That's why we have other people, right, Josh?" and try to give me a fist bump. I said, "I don't receive that. There is no way that's going to be my spirit or my attitude towards people. No way. Don't train them to do what you say. Train them to do what you do. Your life is louder than your lectures." You could have the most fire statements, the best ideas or ideologies around leadership. If you don't live it, nobody will ever model it, because you lead to the level of which you live, not you look. So a lot of people, in my experience, focus on the pure perception of it without the weight of it, and they're leading empty. So if they copy your rhythms, your faith, your spirit, your attitude, would they become who God called them to be? Number 6, and lastly, this one is very evident and obvious, but I want to talk through it. Leadership isn't taught, it's transferred. You don't download leadership, you absorb it. That's why Jesus didn't run a classroom, he walked with people. Everything about Jesus' life, by the way, if you're a Christian or not, doesn't matter, is the epitome example of what a leader should be doing. He spent hyper-intentional time with people. He spent intentional time with 3, he spent intentional time with 12, and with 1. The same person who's denying him, he's cooking him breakfast. There's a one-on-one interaction there that actually is confrontation that leads to Peter's calling being developed. So you can look at it and go, did he teach more than he transferred? The answer is no. He transferred more than he taught, because a lot of times what we're not saying is what people are living and modeling and watching. It's what you're not saying that's actually getting transferred. Spirit reproduces spirit. A mind reproduces a mind. Heart reproduces heart. So for you, it's your life. It's being transferred. People are watching how you talk to your wife. People are watching how you parent. People are watching how you prepare a message. I could give you hundreds of examples of pastors in my life of me observing them, and that's something that I've probably taught on one of these podcasts. Who needs less information from you and more imitation of you? And this just goes back to you. Like, what type of life are you living? Are you living in a green room? Are you living in a closet that is not real? You have to bring people in. You have to have people in your home. You have to get coffee with people. Don't do this journey alone, because you have too much inside of you that somebody could have benefited from, and it could have been all God created them to be by you living your life. So you can build a fast team with hype, tasks, and vision, but if you want to build a leader, you're going to have to bleed for it. There's a book called Bleedership that really changed my mindset towards this, because the reality is bleedership, that your tolerance to pain translates to the level in which you're going to lead. I'm not saying you have to get punched in the mouth all the time emotionally. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying subscribe to just getting hurt. That's what you do as a pastor or as a church leader. You're just going to get hurt. That's not good, and that's not healthy. Set boundaries. This is a tough journey because you're dealing with real humans. So slow it down, pay the price, lead somebody until they can lead it and lead someone else. And truthfully, this is how movement starts. So number one, you can't pass development. You absolutely have to spend time with them. Number two, correction without encouragement breaks them, and encouragement without correction stunts them. Number three, they're not your shadow. Number four, use what you're building to build them, not the other way around. Number five, model what you want to multiply. And number six, leadership isn't taught, it's transferred. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We will see you next week.